All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the American Dota League. We just had a very quick game between Evil Geniuses and Pain Gaming Brazil, but here we are with the last game of the night, Typical Mistakes versus Artyk Gaming. Artyk already playing earlier, Typical Mistakes played yesterday, I believe, but it's really great to have you guys here. My name is Mont. With me tonight is none other than NY John. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good, and I'm really excited to see this game because out of all the games, looking at it on paper for the night, this is probably the most even of them. Typical Mistakes versus Artyk. Both teams have been playing pretty well. Of course, TM letting down their fans last night with a pretty poor effort in general, and Artyk suffering a loss earlier today. But that being said, they definitely are around that same skill level, just below the professional teams, but on the verge of breaking their way into the big time.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think when I think of both of these teams, I just think rivalry, honestly. And not necessarily because, you know, they dislike one another. I think that there is that respect coming out from both sides, but these teams play a lot against each other. If not in scrims, then of course in the ADL and, you know, other American tournaments as well on top of that. So I'm looking forward to seeing how the Peruvian powerhouse of Artyk is going to match up with Typical Mistakes and of course their Venezuelan carry, Fan of Soyan, who decides to change his name every 5 minutes. He goes by Goody one day, then Fan of Soyan the other day, and I just, you know what, whatever, fine. Looking at the bans, the Treant Protector as well as the IO coming out from Artyk Gaming, and then the Naga Siren as well as the Nature's Prophet on the side of Typical Mistakes. Artyk will have the first pickup here, and they've got a bunch of options like the Darkseer is available, the Batrider is definitely available. Between those two, which way would you prefer to have, I guess?
The Batrider. I think the Batrider is just so versatile that you kind of have to pick it up first, and Artyk are going to pick it up. Of course, they can play it well, too. It's not like teams resent getting Batrider because he creates so many opportunities with the Flaming Lasso, and his early game damage output is almost unparalleled in some regards because it doesn't take too much for him to get that maximized damage onto targets. But whenever he's available, he's just such a high priority pickup. And Typical Mistakes respond with two huge supports, Vicious plus Bane. And I like this. I always talk about getting two supports early if you can. And TM are going to do it here. Keeps your options really wide open. So Artyk don't really know what to gear against except for there's going to be a tri-lane, which if you didn't expect that to happen, then you're not watching enough Dota.
I mean, I don't know what game you're watching if you don't expect a tri-lane. I mean, unless it was the EG versus Pain Gaming International game, which was a little bit earlier. But that was like, that is one in a million. You rarely see that. I mean, tri-lane is standard nowadays. It is probably the most played type of laning setup out there. And, you know, that's not really surprising at all. I do like the two pickups coming out from Typical Mistakes. The one thing that I will note is that when you do see two early supports, you kind of back yourself into a corner. I mean, certain carries are going to get banned, but with such a large carry pool and with such a large amount of heroes that can be played effectively in a tri-lane, especially with these two heroes together, I think that they're going to be okay. The Outworld Devourer is certainly a smart ban. As we've seen a lot of Outworld Devourer play earlier on this afternoon. It's worked well sometimes, other times not so much. Then, of course, you're going to see the Queen of Pain coming out for the ban for Artyk as well. The Chen was the pickup for Artyk, so they will have a little bit more team fighting ability just because they have that Hand of God, which is going to nullify, not necessarily nullify, but at least give them a little bit of a buffer and damage there. And the Batrider with that lasso is going to be really nice to have, of course, just to lock down some heroes. But in the same right, Bane has that Fiend's Grip, and getting a Fiend's Grip on really any hero, if you can get it full duration, probably means that hero is going to die. But with the lineups as they are right now, it looks like Artyk could go for an earlier pushing lineup, whereas Typical Mistakes, they want to try to fight here, but they can also push with Visage's Familiars.
Yeah, picking up that Bane early is also going to deter Artyk from picking up something like a Lifestealer, who, based on the bans, was one of the more prominent heroes available. And whenever you have a Batrider, a hard lockdown with a lasso, if you can have a hero like Lifestealer on the back end of it, just gnawing at a target with those auto attacks, it really is a good combination. But you don't want to pick Lifestealer into Bane too often. Some teams will do it. It's not. Since Bane's a support, it's not like you're guaranteed the level 6 in a prompt fashion, but still, it does create shadow of a doubt in your mind. They go with the Chen, and this is kind of an indication that Artyk wants to play it a little bit safe, force TM to not only throw an aggressive tri-line at them if they want to make the most out of these two supports, but also really cash in on that. Otherwise, the Chen's going to start gaining value, and we also see a Puck and a PA ban. So PA We saw that earlier from Artyk. It's a hero they love to run. So typical mistakes, doing their homework, they pay attention and know that that is specifically a targeted hero against this Artyk team. Not against every team, but against Artyk for sure.
Yeah, I mean, that's really respect for Ewo. I mean, just the way he plays that hero, and Smash as well, not necessarily Ewo. We saw Smash play it earlier, not to as great of effect, but he still played it really well. The Gyrocopter now coming out for typical mistakes, and this tri-lane is dirty, to say the least. I mean, this is a lot of damage, and whether you want to go aggressive or defensive with this tri-lane, it works both ways, but they are on the Dire side. A little bit easier to aggressive tri-lane on that Radiant side because you have that pull camp available to you by just eating through those trees and pulling that creep wave through as well. Artyk, they're going to go ahead and pick up another hero in just a moment. They do have that Chen, so they can play a little bit safer, but they will be in a dual lane capacity here with the Chen in the jungle, which is more or less considered a pseudo tri-lane anyways. With that being said, in terms of trends, there's no Naga mid. They can go for something like a DK mid. Both sides like to do that. They've done that from time to time. I think that was more so emulating, EG and JO doing that a lot of the time as well. But Demons played that DK as well. But enough about EG. We're working on these two teams right now. The Puck ban coming out from Artyk, I think that's a good ban. Ryu is a very good Puck player as well. And I mean, but this is a tri-lane from typical mistakes, right? These three heroes, right?
In all likelihood, it is going to be. It could change around, obviously, if Artyk decides to go some crazy picks and they feel they have a better opportunity elsewhere. But Artyk are going to go pretty reasonable, picking up a Rubik here. I was a little bit thinking along the lines of something like a Jakiro maybe, because he gives you that extra range in a defensive tri-lane that you really like to slow down the aggression, and the AoE disable also comes in hand. But I'm thinking for Artyk, probably a carry like Anti-Mage to fall back on, because this lane is looking good. You said it. There's a whole lot of damage to be had. Anti-Mage generally copes well with that kind of super aggressive lane. It can still get a decent amount of CS and also output his own damage. TM getting some real value picks here, though. Darkseer at the 4.
How does that get through? And you said value pick. I mean, they went to Walmart to pick that Darkseer up. Jeez. I mean, like, that was just about as cheap a pickup as you can ever get. I mean, Darkseer with the 4th pick is unheard of. But typical mistakes, they'll grab it and they'll say thank you very much. And now not only do they have magic damage coming out from the Gyrocopter's call down, they have the vacuum wall on top of that, which is extraordinarily dangerous. But don't count out Artyk. They've got that clockwork going now. They've got a lot of initiation here. So I certainly think that clockwork is a good pickup. And I think, honestly, right now, I think both teams are matched up evenly in terms of just straight up just damage, in terms of fight, in terms of push. I think if push comes to shove, really, it comes down to these last picks. But, of course, that's everything, isn't it? So
Anti-Major Spectre. It's a tough call. I think this is Artyk looking at maybe a Spectre. I think Anti-Mage would be pretty good too. It could, of course, be neither, and I could be horribly wrong. But typical mistakes might be thinking that way, and the Spectre ban could come out here because this is kind of that core you're looking at where you can get the aggressive Spectre into play. They're going to ban out the Luna instead, though. So, interesting decision. This is a Rattlesnake-esque core where Clockwork and Batrider allow for Spectre to get really engaged in fights early on and maximize the damage output from Desolate, get going sooner than a fallback Spectre. So that could come out. Anti-Mage is still a solid choice as well. Typical mistakes are looking for probably a solo here to try and match up against the Batrider or Clockwork. It's not really 100% which one will be there yet, but there's a lot of decent solo options available. If they want to put the Dragon Knight middle, they can. And if it is a Clockwork, it would be a good matchup. But if they decide to put Batrider there, it would be a stomp. So there's a little bit of give and take here for typical mistakes. It's not the easiest decision for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to note, if you get that right with the anti-mage of the Spectre, especially the Spectre, you're a witch. I'm just going to go out and say that you're a witch if you get that right. So I'm holding you to that. But typical mistakes, they have to think about what they want to put up mid. It looks like they have that Darkseer, but I mean that's going to be in the off lane or all likelihood a solo safe lane as well. There's the Zeus, and man, 2 games in a row. What are the chances of that? Oh boy,
pretty good. Ryu is Zeus. I'm pretty sure he believes in this hero more than anyone else in the game. We've seen him solo in mid. It's the true through and through Zeus, like he used to be back in the good old days. But this is a hero that is going to be, I say this every time we see him, he has horrible matchups. You could put the Clock or the Batrider there and they're bad matchups. Ryu's going to have to really work his magic this game, but he's done it in the past, so I mean, I have faith. We'll see here. Final pick coming out from Artyk in a moment.
Chad, do you have faith, though? Do you have faith in Ryu's Zeus pickup here? Well, we're going to find out as we get into the last few seconds of reserve time for Artyk Gaming. And, well, the choices for NY John were Anti-Mage and Spectre. And I'm not going to say anything right now. I just want to go ahead and just observe what their carry pickup is going to be, because that's what they're missing at this point. You know what? You're a witch. You are a witch. You're a soothsayer. I get. All right.
Honestly, that was one of the easier ones because this is one of the lineups that if it was Twitter, it would be trending right now. It just really has a lot of potent damage output, and the aggressive Spectre is really cool because Desolate gives you some extra damage, and of course, the defensive nature of Spectre makes him relatively safe in getting into these opportunities early on. And Spectre, of course, one of the best carries as you get towards the late game. So his scalability is there. So it really does make sense as a roster. And we'll see if Artyk can execute with it because TM have picked up the Zeus. He doesn't have the easiest lane, but they're also featuring a strong tri-lane. So it's not going to be straightforward Artyk, awesome mid-game. It's going to come a lot down to this 5 versus 5 initially.
Oh, there is an engagement, maybe. No, Artyk's thinking about it. Cakes is thinking about it, and they're just going to stare and just make menacing faces at one another. And finally, the first hit goes off. It's Lexington and Concord, ladies and gentlemen. And just like that, it goes off with a bang, and then a little whimper afterwards. But I think that's it. I mean, Fan of Soin, he wants to go. He's going to do some more damage there, but you know what? You talked about Twitter trending. I'm going to trend that NY John as a witch on freaking Twitter because I don't care how obvious that was to you. I don't believe it. Meanwhile, Cogs are going to come out. Let's get into some introductions here. Fan of Soin, that is an aggressive place to be, my friend. He realizes this. He's going to back off. He's on the gyrocopter. Oh, here comes Ewo, by the way, using that Spectral Dagger. Sleazel's going to try to help out. Nightmare's going to go. And, of course, that Rocket Barrage is just going to break it immediately. And no harm done, I guess, but an odd, I guess, initiation coming out early on. And so, on the side of typical mistakes, Fan of Soyon, also known as Goody, on the gyrocopter. I'm the Sheep Sucks. We'll be playing the Visage. Sleazel's on the Bane. Ryu will be on the Zeus. And down in that bottom lane, we're going to have Cakes on the Darkseer. Meanwhile, on this tri-lane, we have Misoku on the Chen. Misko will be on the Rubik, and they counterward that somehow, unbelievably. I don't know how they got there. Ewo will be on the Spectre. In the mid lane, we're going to see Smash. He's up on that Bat Rider, doing a lot of damage to Ryu, who's got 5 stacks, by the way. We're going to see the last person is Mihawk on that Clockwork. So, I mean, yeah, this is going to be interesting. I'm excited to see how Ewo can really, I guess, flourish in the mid game if you can get some nice farm. You can see Cakes did go for that level 1 Iron Shell, which you called kind of standard, I guess. And it looks like that, but I mean, there is telekinesis available, and he doesn't have Surge just yet. He needs to get another last hit to pick up that Surge. He's taking actually a lot of damage. There goes the Surge. There's the telekinesis. A little bit late, actually, with that Surge. A little bit too early, maybe, in fact. He's taking too much damage. That's going to be first blood going for Ewo. And that was easy, and that's why I'm, like, concerned to see why these Darkseers, like it used to be, at least what I thought, you pick up Surge first, try to get level 2 Surge, or even start in the jungle. But Cakes just did not do that. Went for Iron Shell, realized he was taking too much damage, tried to leave. As soon as he surged, they picked him up, they Spectral Daggered him, and that was it.
Yeah, I mean, he has the pull block, so what really should be happening is that he goes down there with the Iron Shell, throws them on the wave. It allows his wave to push pretty well into the tower, and then you get a slightly better equilibrium where you can push your face a little bit far up in the lane without really worrying about dropping. But both him and I believe it was Bulba earlier playing it really risky, and such as they sacrifice an early kill. My concern is still this middle lane. I mean, we saw stacks on Zeus earlier. He needs to get this stick up in there. It finally comes out to him. I don't know, it would have been a choice, but instead of going for the bottle, it would have picked up the stick right off the bat because this is a scary lane for me. I'm kind of shivering a little bit at the thought that Ryu is going to get blown out here by Smash. If Smash can maintain his mana, and he does have the bottle coming out to him now, so he should be able to do just fine. We may see a dive soon.
Yeah, but the thing is, they're actually really even in terms of CS right now. It's 11, I believe. Nope, up to 12 for Smash right now. Ryu is sitting at 10, so he's doing a good job of last hitting using that Arc Lightning right now. Mihawk getting some experience, taking some flat cannon damage as well. But he'll be fine right now. Cakes has rotated to the jungle. You can see he is taking quite a bit of damage right now. He can use his salve, and that's exactly what he's going to do. Just try to get that soul ring up early. This does leave a free lane for Ewo down in the bottom lane, which gives him 15 last hits as well. They'll have full pull experience, from Misco, as they have counter-warded that camp. So everything besides, I guess, the first blood for Cakes is going swimmingly for both sides right now. Ryu's taking a lot of sacks, like you mentioned. We could see a dive, theoretically. Ryu's doing a nice job of keeping up in CS, however, surprisingly enough. And like you said, if there's a will, there's a way, and especially for Ryu on the Zeus, we could see it again. And Smash is just going to go up to the high ground, make sure he's got vision on Ryu. Ryu's staying pretty far back, and that needs to happen. Sluzel's on the backside, meanwhile, out the secret shop for the Radiant side. Was maybe thinking about diving Mihawk, but he's nowhere near him, so he's going to actually head, it looks like, I don't know what he's doing here. He's just kind of sitting around waiting, maybe either going to go mid or back up into that top lane, or, do a wraparound kind of gank here in just a moment. But he's waiting, and he's kind of wasting experience while doing so.
Suko's gifting a centaur to middle, just throwing it up there and letting it have some fun, as he's going to get a new one anyway. But that wasn't going to work against Ryu. If he let a centaur walk up and stun him, that would have been pretty sad. Instead, you see both of them, it's interesting because they both have a huge spam, and they're just trading stacks on these wands. So they're kind of helping each other out in some regards. And since the last hit ability of Zeus is highly predicated on having mana, he's doing pretty well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you just can spam those magic stick charges.
Dive.
Yeah, there is a big dive now going, and I can just see it on Mihawk. He will get hit up by that homing missile. Looks like Goody wants to go ahead and do that rocket barrage. There it goes. Mihawk taking quite a bit of damage, and the soul assumption from Sheep. That'll be the kill there. And that's really the potency of this tri-lane. And meanwhile, mid lane right now, Zeus definitely in some trouble. Ryu, that Centaur Con just missed, but taking too much damage to the stack charges. He's going to use that Thunder God's Wrath, I believe. No, it was actually just a lightning bolt coming in. I thought it was Thunder God's Wrath, but Chen will pick up that kill. Nice kill there on mid. Smash is actually kind of low, but that's fine. Misco is actually going to have to head back to base as well, almost getting that kill. Now getting pushed back up top is Fan of Soyan as well as Sleazel, as the tower was starting to hit them just a little bit. Down in the bottom lane, Cakes is finally rotated back down here. He's got 36 CS. He's 4 ahead of Ewo, by the way. He's got 32, but Ewo doing very well. Going to go for Phase Drum on the Spectre, which is what you see common in, I think, pretty much every Dota game. But there is a hand of Midas for Fan of Soyan, and that is something I haven't seen in a while, a Midas on a Gyrocopter. So Gyro, I think, pretty confident about taking this into the late game, and I don't see why not. There's going to be the Haunt. Meanwhile, chasing after Cakes right now, a TP coming in, and he's going to Haunt away. I don't know where he haunted to, though. He actually haunted up into the top. Yep. I was looking for him, but there's Evo up in the top lane. He's going to get salved up as well. That is actually going to make it so he can't farm for a couple of minutes. He's going to have to TP back down to that, I guess, couple seconds. He's going to TP right back down to that Tier 1 tower. So he just tried to dove Cakes there, and Cakes has just got away just fine. So, but everything's looking, I mean, if we look at the graphs, it's even for experience and 250 gold, so very even game so far.
Yeah, it's been very even, and the only real difference is the fact that there's an extra kill for Artyk. And getting that kill on Zeus, where you lost a Clockwork top, that trade Zeus for Clockwork, it wasn't a direct trade, but it was a consequence of both actions, of course. That's pretty favorable for Artyk. They're going to be happy with that. Anytime you could slow down Zeus's leveling, you're really hindering the hero's ability, and now gank on middle again.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to go for that lasso. Zeus definitely in some trouble. No mana for the Thunder God's Wrath. He's taking a lot of damage. He should not be able to get out of this one. He's going to get flame breaked. Ryu taking a lot of damage. The sticky napalm. There's nothing he can do. He will go down. Smash will pick up that kill. And this is what Artyk's doing a whole lot better than I think the opposing team. Typical mistakes. They're ganking effectively. They're getting that mid kill. Ryu he had a good time early on in the game, but now he's slowing down. His CS is only at 22, and he's died twice in that mid lane. However, I think that right now that top lane's going well for them, but they also have to just try to deal with Ewo, who's just been free farming as well, on top of Fan of Soyan. Fan of Soyan sitting at 43 last hits. He's 2 behind Ewo at this point. In fact, now he's just 1 behind. But Ryu needs to start getting it going here. He's going to head back mid, but at what point do you say that's enough diving? That's enough, of course, just feeding in the mid lane.
Top tower is going to go down.
Yep, they will fort that up too, but this should go down. There's no way that they can deny this, and it's going to fall. So that's a nice early tower, which will go for typical mistakes, which means they should have a gold lead, I think, after this. It's actually even still. The Radiant had a lead, now it's even, and in terms of experience, it's actually still going in the favor of the Radiant. Now they're just going to go ahead and wrap around and look for Mihawk once again, who does not have a tower there to help him out this time. And in the mid lane again is Misoku. And there's the Thunder God's Wrath coming in, just doing some damage. They want to get vision. There's the Nightmare. The homing missile's going to fly. That's going to hit. They're going to wait for that to hit. Now a TP coming in. This one from Smash. He's got his last 2-4. Sleazel in some trouble right now. Haunt coming in as well. Fan of Soin taking a lot of damage. There's the call down. It's not going to hit. Meanwhile, Ewo, as well as, of course, Smash, just trying to do some damage. Sleazel taking some right clicks there. You can see Sheep, of course, that Firefly going right over him right now. 4 stacks. The Visage just trying to use his Soul Assumption. Not enough, though. Smash will chase after him and grab that kill. In the meantime, though, Sleazel will, in fact, get away. Now coming through Phantom Soil. Ryu is in Viz. His Thunder God's Wrath is on cooldown right now. Looking to hit up on somebody. Might be able to actually kill Smash here. There's the Lightning Bolt, the Art Lightning, and just a few more right clicks here. He's just going to try to fly. He has no Firefly. He was just trying to use it, trying to juke right now. But the Lightning Bolt, that'll get the kill. Maybe get the kill. No, Ryu is getting desolated. The Spectral Dagger's coming in. The Hand of God. Ryu's not going to get this kill. Yes, he will. Arc Lightning, but Ewo's going to turn around. Maybe get this kill if he can Nightmare Ewo in time. No, the Enfeeble first. Does he have enough mana for Nightmare? He does not. Ryu bottling up now. Just trying to escape desperately. He needs some help. Here's Goody coming in right now. The homing missile is going to fly. Meanwhile, Chen picks up the mid tower while this is all happening. And Visage is going to come right on through. And it looks like Ryu's going to head back to base now. And he will just somehow survive as he does pick up that kill on Smash. And he gets a little bit of revenge as well.
Yeah, the pace of this game is phenomenal. And the one thing I really want to take a look at is the fact that Cakes, as a result of this aggressive Spectre play, is the direct beneficiary. Look at this, 61 CS. Granted, some of that is, in fact, jungle CS, but he was able to get himself back into the bottom lane. The bottom tier 1 is taking a whole lot of damage now, and starting off at a point where he had died early on, a position he didn't necessarily want to put himself in, he has responded extremely well, being able to play off of the fact that his tri-lane had done a good job top, and they were playing super aggressive. So props to him for working his way back in. Now Visage, I'm a Sheep Sucks, has picked up his level 6, so familiars are in play. This is a good time for TM. On the flip side, Clockwork is just trying to get that level 6, which is going to be huge for Artyk to even get better results out of this Haunt, Batrider Lasso, initiation kind of setup they have going on, and Batrider's close to the Blink Dagger. So both teams are getting close to the point they want to be at, and we're really going to see things come to a climax soon here in terms of action.
Yeah, and that's always the best point, I think, in Dota, is just right when those teams just sort of clash. And, well, that's going to happen soon. There's a bottom push coming, I think, from Misoku. At least they're thinking about it for the time being. They have Misko here along with Ewo, and he's got Haunted up again, by the way. Blink Dagger, that's done for Smash, and that's huge. I mean, with that Blink Dagger, he's going to be able to position himself in such a way that he'll be able to get a lot of great initiation on any hero, really, and it's going to be important to have as well. On top of that, Sleazel has not hit 6 yet. In fact, he's not close. He's only level 4 right now. In comparison, you see, of course, Visage at level 6. So Sleazel's actually really low in terms of levels right now. Net worth is pretty much tied for the Gyro and, of course, for Ewo. So treads are done. 2 circlets as well for the Gyrocopter. He's going to throw a homing missile up on Mihawk right now. And that bottom push coming out from the Radiant side is actually going to stop here. But more stacking coming out for the Ancients here on the Dire side. Cakes goes and does that, and he's actually 150 gold away from his mech. Smoke's going to get purchased up from the Rubik here. And now it's just a little bit of just wait and see, I guess, for both teams at this point in time.
Yeah, and it looks like bottom lane might try and push out a little bit. Or actually, they're rotating. But since Spectre's still here and Chen is here, they can push us out. Wrath of the Thunder God popped off randomly there, which is late game. You don't really mind that because the cooldown's low and it's not that big of a. I mean, it's not that significant of a factor in the fights because naturally everyone has higher levels. It doesn't scale in terms of damage particularly well. But early game, that's a very valuable skill. So to be casually used off, it's a little bit interesting to see Ryu do that at this stage.
Uh-oh, Ryu, speaking of him, he's going to get lassoed. He got blinked in. He's got telekinesis now in the Firefly as well. And Misko, I think he's still Thunder God's Wrath. Ryu taking a lot of damage, call down, and the Rocket Barrage. So they trade 1 for 1 right now. And now trying to get away is Smash. He's also taking a lot of damage. Another, of course, Rocket Barrage going. Smash is going to get vacuum back the Soul Assumption. That'll grab the kill. But now here's the Clockwork doing some damage. He's got no mana, however. There's the Fiend's Grip. Oh, and a double kill for Sleazel, and it turns around in their favor. And how? I mean, Misko, he had the Thunder God's Wrath, and he used it, and it did a decent amount of damage. But unfortunately, it just was not enough there. But they will push bottom tower, and he will...
Yeah, that... Well, Clockwork should have never gone in there, and it was just obvious that Smash got really greedy. He was hasted, he could have disengaged, after they got the kill on the Zeus, but he popped back and tried to get either the Gyro or the Visage, and he just didn't factor in the Visage soul assumption, which wrecked him. I mean, he was below half health. He was really fast, but at some point, if you can get the soul assumption off on you, you're not going to outrun it. It just doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
So he ended up dropping it. It was just a misplay. Spectre didn't have Haunt available, or he haunted and didn't have to come in. One of those, I forget a little bit. But either way, they didn't fully commit. They got a tower instead on the bottom lane, and it makes it a little bit of a wash, but still, Clockwork didn't die. That team fight wasn't nearly as bad for Artyk. So that lane engage has to be a little bit more cognizant of what is actually going on in the fight.
Absolutely. So with that fight there, Darkseer's got his mechanism, by the way. They've got a 1,500 experience lead and a 750 gold lead right now. But there's a smoke gate coming out from Artyk, and I think part of the reason why I use that Thunder God's Wrath is that you can detect through True Sight with that ability. It does give you True Sight, I believe, as well as the vision all over the place. So that's really nice to have, even if the cooldown is a little bit high. So I applaud. And right when Ryu did that, I think they either smoked up or were about to smoke up. So either way, blink in. There's going to be, of course, the lasso and smash just gets obliterated as all 5 are there. Hand of God is going to go. Call down's going to hit on Ewo at least. There's the wall of replica right now. Kicks is going to go down. The Fiend's grip, but the hook shot coming in from Mihawk at the perfect time. The Fade Bolt, they're turning this around, and there's going to be a triple kill from Masoku using his Chen creeps coming in. Mihawk taking a lot of damage. Ryu wants the kill, but he's got to back off. There's no tower. There's the ensnare going in. Ryu's going to fall, and this is going to be a team wipe. Mihawk gets a double kill. They turned it around somehow, and that looks so bad for Artyk, but Mihawk comes right in with a huge hook shot. The Fade Bolt doing some damage, and of course the Chen creeps, the MVP there. And that Darkshore Warlord's like, thank you very much. Just gonna go ahead and kill some people, and the Hellbear Smash as well. The clap.
Chen has the mech, Chen has the Hand of God, and the fact that we already talked about that Spectre is really tanky because Dispersion level 4, 22% damage reflection. It was just too tough to take down Spectre. They didn't finish him off in time, and as a result, Mihawk got the perfect opening for a hook shot and followed up with a good cogs and chain there, and it just turned the team fight for Artyk. So that was a fantastic result for them, where a lot of these fights had gotten away from them. So if they can continue to execute properly like that, then Artyk are going to be looking pretty good. TM have to make sure not to group up and over pursue on targets that are really hard to take down in Spectre. I mean, you either have the kill or you don't, but they got the Fiend's grip off on him. He was on the high ground, though, and as a result, that hookshot setup was just fully ripe for the picking for Mihawk.
Yeah, I didn't even see Mihawk sitting there on the side with that hook shot, but he was ready for it. Now a smoke coming out of the top lane here. They're not going to find anybody. Nobody's around Fan of Soyan right now. He's still trying to farm away his Helm of the Dominator. He's going to get there, and you talked about grouping up, and I mean, that was just as grouped as you can get. I mean, Smash just jumped right in, essentially, kind of not knowing what was going to happen. He died for his sins, but it turned around to be such a great fight for the side of Artyk that it's going like 2,000 to 3,000, both experience and gold in their favor. But now there's the Fiend's grip on Ewo, and there's going to be some stuns to come after as well. But the hook shot onto all 3. Oh my god, so much damage to the Fade Bolt itself. There's the call down going. Mihawk the vacuum as well. Still, the mech's going to fly, keeping people alive on the side of the Dire. Double kill for Fan of Soyan, and they will survive this time around. And of course, Fan of Soyan with that double kill, that's nice. But meanwhile, Ewo picking up a kill. Visage gets another one. Sleazel trying to TP out. Will he make it? Yes, he will. Just in time. Fan of Soyan trying to go toe-to-toe, but Masoku, he's able to survive, and it ends up being a 3-for-3 trade. And who comes out on top on that one? I think probably I will buy back because he died, right? I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he bought back. He's because it's on the cooldown. Yeah. So.
Yeah, then definitely a win for TM. But I mean, morale-wise, that fight started off as a 5 versus 3. So Clockwork with another great hookshot initiation on a bunched-up set of TM. It's really allowed for Batrider to swoop in there and get the most out of his abilities, whether it be Firefly and throwing that on fire or even the Napalm stacks. But considering it was a 5 versus 3 initially, Artyk probably did a little bit better. They probably overachieved a little. And TM still come out with a better gold lead, so they will be happy with that. But they can't let the team fights to continue to work out in that sort of arrangement. Otherwise, they could be in trouble later on in the game. We also see a Roche attempt here.
I mean, this is what I was waiting for, too, when we talk about Roche. And he has that medallion, and this is what is so good. I mean, medallion is pretty much core on Visage, and that allows you to get that armor reduction going on Roshan, giving you a faster Rosh. And yeah, they're going to trade this for a tier 1 tower top, but I think they're okay with the Rosh kill as well as the Aegis up on one of their heroes. Probably Fan of Soyan, it looks like, is going to grab it. He's doing the most damage, I think, at this point. Yeah, he will pick that one up, and he's also got 1,800 gold in the bank on top of that. He's got a nice, actually, yeah, he's got a decent creep stack here as well. He can throw up his flat cannon and just try to take that down. They're going to smoke up, though, maybe try to head to the top tower, but that's a long walk that they've got to make, and they've already used their fortification, by the way, a couple of minutes ago, in fact, so this tower could go down pretty quickly. Meanwhile, you see Cakes is nowhere near the team, and Ryu's actually TPing up to the base right now, so this is going to be a 3v5 fight if they do engage here. And I don't know what they can really do. They do have that Aegis. There's going to be the call down going right now. Blink going in, Smash looking for something. He's going to be Grave Chilled. Meanwhile, Fan of Soyan doing a lot of damage to Misoku. TP now coming in. Telekinesis. Hand of God's going to go. Thunder God's Wrath. Mihawk. Fan of Soyan, the Aegis is gone. Visage picking up the kill on the Bat Rider. Misoku standing right in that wall. Nice vacuum. Misoku should go down. Yes, he will. Cakes will pick up that kill. 2 down right now. They need to keep chasing here. Surge on a Fan of Soyan. He wants to get up to Mihawk, who has that hook shot. He can hook shot up if he needs to, but he's going to juke around, use his cogs. Nicely done. And that should be the end there, unless they can grab... Oh, no, the Fiend's Grip from the high ground. How did he pull that one off? Mihawk, he's going to go down. That's going to be a kill for Sleazel. And now that's 3 kills going for the side of TM. And, of course, typical mistakes. They're looking good right now as the experience graph dips back down to 0. The gold is right about there as well. The Aegis was used, but in the end it was worth it.
Yeah, that was a really good cutoff with the Familiars there to set up the Fiend's Grip. It gets them a whole lot of kills and nets a really big victory for TM again. And this is the point of the game where Zeus is level 11. You could check him out. You can click on him. He doesn't have that many items. Doesn't matter. He still outputs a whole lot of damage. And even if he dies in some of these team fights, the fact that first off you're expending energy targeting him after he's going to get off most of his damage in the first 2 or 3 seconds of the fight between going through Thunderbolt, going through Thunder God's Wrath as well. It really is a benefit for TM because Zeus is in the play, he does his damage, whatever. If they kill him, then you fall back onto Goody. Goody has the flat cannon, has persistent damage over the fight as well as call down, and Visage is there to clean up whoever's already low with the soul assumptions. So they have a really well structured team fight, and the facilitators Darkseer and Bane right now are making it pretty easy and straightforward for them in most situations. And Artyk are trying to engage heavily into that, but they're playing a little bit too aggressive, and it's not really panning off. We see these team fights are deep into dire territory, and the team fights haven't really gone their way for the past 3, 4, 5 minutes or so.
Yep, and you know what's surprising is that Fan of Soyan is just going to go ahead and pick up an Eagle Song. Rather than opting for BKB, something along those lines, he's going to go ahead and pick up a Butterfly next. He's actually taking a lot of damage from these creeps. He's got to back off, even with the Sum of the Dominator. But some creeps, some Ancients with his teams, just holding hands, just like, hey, help you get this stack, you know, get some last hits. It'll be fun. We'll get experience. It'll be a good time. All while this is happening, Smash is going to go ahead and pick up his Force Staff, and, well, that's going to be nice to have for multiple scenarios. Just blinking in, forcing out, you know, and just positioning all together. He is level 11, so he's got his level 2 ult, which gives you a longer duration, which is nice to have. Ryu, we talked about level 11 as well. Increases that damage. That's about it. And the mana cost as well, but that's not really something you think about there. Down in the bottom lane, Smoke, they could potentially get a pick off on Iwo, and he's got a Sacred Relic right now. Looks like he's trying to go for that Radiance. He can haunt out if necessary, and he might do so. There he goes. He's going to go for that haunt. He's going to haunt away. In fact, he's going to haunt right up here, and Ryu is actually chasing after him. That homing missile is still going, by the way. In the meantime, Gyrocopter will take that bottom tier 1 tower. And Iwo's still getting chased down. Ryu decided to pull that chase off. He's going to just sit back behind his, or close to his tier 2 tower. And that will stun him, by the way, taking a lot of damage. And if Ryu had his Thunder God's Wrath right there, Iwo might have just actually died. But unfortunately, didn't have it available. Nice try coming out from Ryu, but it doesn't really matter. Tier 2 top might be the next target here. Everybody's grouping up. It's a smoke gank from Artyk. Smash is going to lead the way, looking for Blink Force initiation.
Yeah, I don't know if you noticed, but Evo, when he had TP'd to the Zeus, he was pretty much full health, and they popped off the Hand of God, like on a full health Spectre. That's a little bit of a lack of communication. I mean, if Spectre says he's going to haunt out, and he says he made it out to a different target, then they shouldn't be expending that 2 minute
going in. Fan of Soren taking so much damage to the mech. There's going to be the lasso as well. The call down to the wall do get off right now. Can they get at least a few kills? Smash is double kills so far right now. Mihawk taking his soul assumption. He might be the first to fall on the side of Artyk and will be. Smash right now trying to get out. He will blink away, and it looks like a 2-for-1 trade in the end. And that fight goes like a flash pan, and that's it. I mean, it's done after that, and that's a good pickup. Just those two heroes alone.
Yeah, but that fight, if they had Hand of God up, they keep Mihawk alive as well, and it's even better. So, I mean, I just feel like they should be communicating a little bit better in that last instance. So, a little bit of criticism. But, of course, either way, getting those pickoffs, being able to kill the Gyrocopter is so valuable. But Gyrocopter is still really close to getting that entirety of the butterfly up, and when he has that, Spectre's going to struggle. Spectre's not a hero that we see MKB on too often. Really likes to get tanky later in the game, and of course the Fusel maximizes his damage output with the illusions as well. So it is a nice pickup from Goody. I think it's a little bit of forethought and clever play from him, opting straight for that butterfly.
The thing that I do like, though, is that I'm not sure if, I mean, well, Ewo certainly didn't know that he was going to go straight for Butterfly, but the Radiance is done for Spectre, and that's an item you see from time to time, especially if you can get it quickly. He got it about 23 minutes exactly, roughly right around that time, so a little late, and that Radiance isn't going to do that much damage. If you look at the levels right now, there are a few, well, actually a lot of level 11s on the map right now, so the squishier heroes will be susceptible to Radiance Burn, and that'll provide a lot of extra damage on top of course, whatever else he's dishing out already, which is Phase and Drum and things of that nature. But if we look at the graphs right now, this is probably the most even game we've seen thus far. I mean, in terms of gold, in terms of experience, it's pretty much zero at this point. Roche is going to be up in about 2.5 minutes. There should be a pop-up soon. Actually, it was 5 minutes just a moment ago. There's the Blink Lasso coming in on Ryu. Ryu out of position, and Ryu definitely in some trouble. He might throw his Thunder God's Wrath down. He will, in fact, do so. Mech's going to go. There's the Hand of God. Fan of Soyon in some trouble. There's the wall on the ground. Mihawk, nice vacuum coming in. Can they get anything? They sent Mihawk back home just in time. Masoku, what a play. Ewo going after Sleazel with the Fiend's Grip. Not going to matter. That Radiant Spurn's going to kill him. Now Ewo will get out. 4 down on the side of typical mistakes. Smash, they're looking for another one. Will they get the team wipe? The 4-step forward from Cakes. The 4-step forward from Smash. He wants to kill. He's going to get it, and that's a team wipe, but Smash is going to die to the tower. But it doesn't matter. A 5-for-1 trade in Artyk. Now they're going to grab a tier 2, and boom, just like that, boom goes the Dynamite. Up in experience, up in gold, says the gold chart and the experience chart. So Artyk, that was about as good a fight as you can get, I think, probably.
That engage was ridiculous. It's not like Artyk have a distinct advantage over TM or TM have a distinct advantage over Artyk. You just went through how even it is, but they pull back the Zeus and then jump forward onto the Gyrocopter. They create this absurd spacing and are able to target the two heroes they want to get down immediately in the fight, meanwhile interrupting a Fiend's Grip in the process, or actually the Fiend's Grip dispersion damage ended up killing the Bane, I believe. But just a perfect initiation really coming out for Artyk there, and if they can continue to start fights like that, then they're going to have a legitimate shot at taking this game home. On the flip side, TM need to try and avoid that by staying as a core but not grouped on top of each other, because they want to get the most out of that vacuum into the call down, setting up their AoE and magic output, because they do have a lot of it.
Yeah. But that's such a... I mean, I never really thought about it that way. The spacing that they created with that last team fight, that is such a good point that you made. Because you're right, they did pull back Ryu, and then that hookshot came in right on top of Goody, and there was nothing they could do. There was this space in between. It's like a void zone. It's like, you cannot enter here. They threw down the wall of replica, but no one was there at the time. It wasn't doing a whole lot of damage. On top of that, the mech and the Hand of God kept them alive through a lot of that nuke damage, including Thunder God's Wrath, which, I mean, is negligible at this point because of the Chen. On top of that, I just want to note, with that one fight alone, they gained 7,500 experience. That's 7,500 experience going for Artyk Gaming with just that one fight alone. So that's absolutely phenomenal for them. TM, the game's not done yet, but that was a bad fight for them, and they're also down 3,000 in gold. But Fan of Soren did complete his butterfly. The BKB has got to be next. He does have the Ogre Club completed up, but... well, I mean, it's going to be a little bit of a long haul until you can get to that BKB. Roche is up in about a minute. Both teams know this, and it actually just showed up on the side for those of you. Well, obviously you all saw it, so I don't need to point it out again. But what I got to say, though, is Masoku sent, I believe it was Mihawk home at just the right time, and he got it off just in time, because he knew he was going to be taking the most damage there as Misko runs right into it. There's the Fiend's Grip, and they're just trying to get a kill right now. But no, he's still alive, the Hand of God, but he will fall in the end. But now a big vacuum coming in. Ewo taking a lot of damage, but he's also dishing it out. And Smash is going to pick up a kill on, of course, the Gyrocopter right now. Misoku looking to chase. You can see Smash looking with that Firefly. Nice Nightmare from Sleazel now. The sticky Napalm charges. They're going to slow everybody down. Can they get the stuns going? Smash looking for more. There's the Flame Break. That's a double kill for Smash. Will they keep chasing is the question here. And Test of Faith, I think, nope, it was Penitence going on Sheep, and that's 2 down, and one of them being, of course, the Gyrocopter, the Bane, the other one. Now they're going to go for a Tier 2 tower, back to Roche potentially after this Tier 2 tower.
Yeah, and they're just looking phenomenal right now. Like, Artyk riding on all cylinders. That was a fight. TM decided to use a Fiend's Grip on a Rubik, which is interesting, but even then, Rubik survived. Like, you use Fiend's Grip on a target, that hero better die. That's the point of it. And the fact that the support survived through that long enough to get off of telekinesis, who cares if he dies after that? He gets a disable, creates an opportunity for Batrider to get a clean engage, and then swoop in comes the rest of Artyk because they're so responsive that you can get a hook shot from long range, you can haunt into the middle of the fight, and it just really is TM. If they want these team fights to go in their favor, they need to pick off a target before it starts, it looks like, just because when Artyk are all in the middle of the fight, it's too much chaos. Like, things are flying out everywhere. And so maybe we'll see if they try and restructure this. And that was a smoke gank from TM too, so keep in mind that they were the aggressor of that fight. Yeah. They decided to pick a fight, and it went poorly and got turned around on them. So, I mean, that could be discouraging too. It could play a mental game. Do they want to be aggressive anymore? Smash is invisible now. He could be looking for a pickoff here.
Yeah, and that's what he definitely wants to have. He wants to just get somebody, especially Ryu, maybe even the Visage, but he's going to like blink on one of these guys, pull him back to his team, and see what happens. I mean, it could be any one of these 3 here, but he risks getting spotted out. The Flare is going to go. That's going to push them back. I did want to note something, and right now, just it's hard enough to follow these team fights as a caster, let alone, you know, as a player, to understand exactly what's happening here. Typical Mistakes understands, I believe, why they're losing these fights. You talked about chaotic, and I think that's part of the problem. And on top of that, the Chen, of course, being able to heal is also a big part of it. And then picking off, of course, Fan of Soyon, who doesn't have a BKB, which is pretty necessary. And it's just, Artyk is just playing absolutely phenomenally. Like, this is really well coordinated team play, which, you know, we've seen from them before. They had a few misplays earlier, but at this point they're playing outstandingly. They've got a 10,000 experience lead, almost a 7,500 gold lead. You know, Roshan could potentially be the next fight, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Artyk go for it, because there are no tier 2s left on the map for the Dire side. So Typical Mistakes, I guess the bell is tolling for them right now at this point in time, but the game's not over yet. Yeah,
and it's worth noting that TM are standing really well in the ADL. I believe they have something like 9 victories and 4 losses, so they're up on the top end of the groups, but they don't want to slip down because EG hasn't played nearly as many games, so they're coming in hot with no losses. This is an important game for both teams. And just one other side note, we're after 20 minutes, so a scout Wrath of the Thunder God is perfectly appropriate, and it just happened from Ryu a minute ago, and Masuko instantly used the Hand of God. So I don't know if it was cheeky play, because he definitely didn't need to heal it up. His team was all safe on their side of the map, but it definitely was cute because Chen's ult right now healing for 300, Thunder God Wrath doing 350. It's really, really being rendered ineffective.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, like, Masoku's just kind of showing off right now, I think. Spectre will go ahead and pick up that Aegis. I don't know if he's going to die anyways. He's got a Heart of Tarrasque, which he just picked up, but this is the moment. I mean, they're going to go ahead and just try to push him to tier 3, and this is where maybe TM can turn this around, because yes, they'll blink and force back out with that Batrider, but you're going to be fighting under a tower for the most part. And this is going to be a tough initiation, but they're going to go forward anyways, right on top of Ryu. He's going to get forced out. There's going to be the Haunt. There's going to be Mihawk jumping in on I'm a Sheep. Nice vacuum. Ryu is still alive, but he does get that Thunder God's Wrath off. Of course, the Hand of God already going. Fan of Soyon, the Fiend's Grip on Iwo, but he does have the Aegis. Double kill for Iwo right now. Triple kill. He's going to go down, but the Aegis buyback coming out from Ryu. A great fight so far. The only one down is going to be Mihawk, who did, of course, just decide to hook shot in right now. They're going to go for the tower here. They got to wait for the next creep wave and, of course, that wall. They're going to get stunned up, or I should say I was going to get stunned up, but he's going to keep attacking this tower right now, waiting for that creep wave just to get there. The wall is gone. They can actually get up to the high ground if they want to. Iwo, he's got to regen a little bit right now. Of course, that regen is pretty quick with that Heart of Trask. And they still might be able to defend this here. Ryu's back here. He doesn't have that Thunder God's Wrath. There's no wall. So there's really no danger. And Iwo is just going to go right back in right now. Sheep's going to get telekinesis. He's going to take some damage. There's the Test of Faith. Taking a lot of damage. Still alive. That Familiar just saving his life barely. But the Spectral Dagger. And of course the Radiance Burn and Desolate coming out from Iwo. That's going to be enough. He's unstoppable right now. And now he's going to get stunned again. Masoku, nice mech going to go again. Now here's Smash back again. Hand of God. Sleazel in trouble. He'll fall as well. Killing spree up for Smash. Ryu, he's taking some damage. The Firefly, is it enough? Is it going to be the Radiant Spur damage? Wicked sick. Iwo gets another one, and Masoku just diving so far. The tier 3, they're not even focusing it. Now they go. And this looks like it's going to be Rax. At least one set, if not two.
Yeah, and I guess where TM1 wrong is the Zeus pick, which we all love, and I don't want to speak poorly of it because I want to see it more frequently, but the Zeus pick into a Batrider is very high risk, and we've seen Smash take full advantage of that. He doesn't care about anyone else on the team of Typical Mistakes. He goes straight for that Zeus and lassos him in every fight, and it's a guaranteed kill if he gets a lasso off for the most part. Yep. It's because Zeus doesn't have anything. He can't survive, and his team, there's no disruption coming out from like a Shadow Demon to try and keep him alive for a moment. It's just end, and now Artyk's getting hit by Engage here.
What a vacuum, what a vacuum. But the mech and the Hand of God still on cooldown right now. They have to back off. Double kill for Cakes. Thunder God's Wrath, they'll have a buyback. Iwo, he does not have that Aegis anymore right now. He does have the Heart. Flamebreak's going to push Sheep back. Sheep's kind of low right now. And Iwo could maybe just turn around. Misoku just trying to repent. It's Cakes who's chasing after him, but a triple kill coming out for the Darkseer right now. And they just stayed a little too long there. And in fact, I think they might have gotten 4 and someone bought back as well on the Dire side. Yes. Or on the Radiant side, I meant. And no, it does not seem to be the case. Not that I can tell. Oh, yeah, it was the Batrider who bought back. Smash bought back immediately. So I am right. I'm not crazy. But they stayed a little too long there. And that was the fight that I think TM was looking for the entire game.
Yeah, and it comes a little bit too late. I mean, that vacuum was beautiful. You said it in the middle of the battle. It set everything up properly for them, and that's what you need to do, because we talked about how the fights are really chaotic and hard for them to get a grasp on, and the vacuum, it sorts the fight for you. It condenses it. It makes it pretty straightforward where your target is and what you need to do to them, and it just hasn't been there the whole game. The Darkseer, it's not like he's been played poorly by Cakes. In fact, I think he's been one of the better players in this particular game, but it just didn't seem to have the effectiveness that Typical Mistakes would have needed it to have if they wanted their team fights to go a lot better earlier on in the game.
I think you kind of touched on the reason why that vacuum's not effective earlier when you talked about the separation, when you've got Smash, Blink, and then forcing out, and then of course Mihawk just going ahead and hook-shotting in. I mean, there's no conglomerations of heroes in that one specific area. They're kind of spread out, dealing with one hero or another. And it kind of forces you to choose, well, where do I vacuum? Who do I put the vacuum on? And he was getting decent vacuums. I'll say that for Cakes. He was getting decent vacuums. He was getting decent walls. But it wasn't enough where it was absolutely game-changing, where you see those huge walls, huge vacuums into it. And, that last fight was an example of what could happen if they got it done correctly. And they tried being aggressive and tried, using it in that specific way, but it just hasn't worked out for them. So right now, as it stands, though, while we get a pause here, I want to take a break and just say big shout out to both of these teams for putting on an absolutely great show. I think Artyk Gaming and Typical Mistakes, 2 up-and-coming teams that you guys definitely need to keep checking out here on the ADL as well as elsewhere. Speaking of the ADL, make sure you check them out on twitch.tv/American Dota League if you're watching in game. Shout out all to the in-game viewers, of course. Purchase up a Dota TV ticket if you'd like in the Dota store. Looking at other things here as far as the game goes, 15,000 experience lead, 10,000 gold lead going for Artyk right now. They're in the driver's seat. They just got the Aegis not too long ago, so that's about 5 minutes away from respawning. And looking at items, Scythe Device is going to be actually done for Misco really soon, and that's a support Rubik getting a Scythe Device at this point in time. Thunder God's Wrath going again, and, well, it doesn't really necessarily matter at this point. They just want to get vision. They want to know where they are. So it doesn't necessarily matter that they use that. Like you talked about earlier, Boots Travel has been up on the Bat Rider for quite some time. They're all going for Scythe, it looks like, as you see one Ultimate Orb for Smash, one Ultimate Orb for Misco, and I don't believe anyone else has a Scythe yet. But there is that Pipe of Insight on Mihawk, and they're looking to push top, it looks like.
Yeah, and I mean, the other thing to take note of is the fact that I applauded Goody for his forethought or his foresight in purchasing up the Butterfly, because it does give you a lot of EHP against a hero like Spectre. However, it doesn't give you the best damage output. So him not having the best damage output in these fights, and he's still getting jumped on by Clockwork. So really, damage is important for his team, and now a dive by Ewo and Deep.
Ewo is a dive that I would never. That was a mistake. I mean, they'll get the tier 3 and he'll buy back, and he's gonna haunt in now. It looks like I'm not sure he's gonna go on hook shot, going onto a Spectre Illusion double kill. I'm not sure where the real one is. There it is. Now he's going after Sheep Sucks, who's got Soul Assumption, but now a triple kill for Ewo, and that was just with haunt and just buying back, and that's the power of Spectre getting in here. And this makes me excited to see a lot more Spectre throughout not only the ADL, but maybe even TI3. But Ewo, he's looking to maybe just dive some wells, or just go on Ryu, in fact. There's going to be the call down, Phantom Storm with that BKB. They're looking for a lasso. Hand of God is going to go right now. Meanwhile, where is Ewo? I can't, there, he's speedy back in right now, and of course those cogs blocking the path. Thunder God's Wrath going again. Mihawk taking a lot of damage. Ewo with another kill. Ryu's going to be next. It looks like it's a double kill. No, Ryu's going to survive. But at the end of the day, this has got to be game. They took down 2 sets of racks. The third one down bottom is going to be defended. Looks like Ryu's going to push it back out. But now, Fan of Soyan going to try to chase this Masoku. He's got no Hand of God, no mech. There's the Fiend's Grip actually on Masoku, but the lasso going onto Fan of Soyan. They can't stop this Fiend's Grip, but now going to town is Ewo. But Sleazel, Nightmare, nicely done. 3 down now on the side of Artyk, so they do push this back. It's not GG yet. Sleazel is going to fall, though, it looks like, with that Radiance Burn. And Fan of Soyan, the illusions giving him the double kill. Ewo just going to try to make his way out of there right now. The homing missile, is it going to be enough? Yes, it just barely is. And they will team wipe, but not before Ewo picks up pretty much every kill on the team.
Yeah, Ewo's done a phenomenal job on that Spectre, and it's not the easiest role to play because you need to juxtapose being involved in team fights and getting your CS at the same time. If you can't do both, you're going to fall off a little bit, especially when the entirety of the game since the 5-minute mark, Goody has had a Midas on that Gyrocopter supplementing his farm. But Ewo has done both of his jobs. He's gotten his farm up and he's been involved. He's gotten kills. You can see he's 14, 3, and 15. Just an amazing game for him overall, and he gets a lot of credit when people discuss Artyk and their success thus far in the past couple months or so. It definitely deserves most of it.
Yeah, I agree with you there completely. What's important to note right now is that nobody has buyback on the Radiant side, which means 40 seconds for Ewo, but at this point in time, I don't think they're too concerned about this, as everyone has respawn except for him, and when he does, he can just haunt back into the fight if there is one. So if TM push with maybe a little bit more urgency, they probably get that tier 2 tower, but they just couldn't afford it at that point, and there's not a lot they can afford right now anyways. The net worth is 20,000 for Ewo. He's doing very well for himself, and Goody's sitting at 16,000. So Goody, you mentioned how that Butterfly not giving you the most damage, and you could see it in that previous fight. I mean, and he just goes down so quick, and the illusions from Ewo just killed him. It was just the illusions.
Yeah, and if you go to the net worth, you can see second to last net worth is Zeus, which is the exact opposite of what you kind of need him to be. You want him to get those kills early, start rolling a little bit in his favor, because if he does have a slight extra mobility, whether it be the Blink and the Force Staff, or into at least having boots, he can be a good hero in the mid game, and that just didn't happen. As we see Ewo finish off Gyrocopter. In this game, for typical mistakes, Ryu Zeus never got that chance because we said Smash just zeroed in on him every single time, jumping on top of the Zeus, making his life so difficult. And if you look at who else they're going to fall back onto damage output outside of Gyrocopter, I mean, if Zeus is dead before he can do any of that damage in the middle of these fights, then it's 2 supports and a Darkseer Ion Shell trying to pick up the slack.
Yeah, now there's going to be a fight there. There's going to be the wall. Wall rip is going to go Thunder God's Wrath. The pipe did go before that right now. The stun, big vacuum again, but a lot of it is just being tanked up with that mech going through. You can see nobody dead except for Gyro, who was already picked off. In the meantime, Ewo and Chen get to combine up to get the kill on Visage. Sleazel, he might be next, taking so much illusion, or excuse me, Radiance Burn damage. He will fall. Spectre will pick up another one now. He's going to chase after Ryu. Ryu, whose life has been so rough, and GG is called, and Artyk playing an absolutely outstanding game, and it goes back to that Zeus pickup, which we talked about, and it did not work out, and for multiple reasons. Number one, it was a risky pickup to begin with. Number two, you mentioned Smash jumping on him every time, but it wasn't always Smash. It was the fact that Artyk roamed their supports through to get the kills as well, and to get the experience, and to get the gold as well on top of that. So you got to give credit to Artyk for playing absolutely an outstanding game. They had one or two misplays throughout the game, but they really, really rectified themselves throughout maybe the 20 to 41 minute. That is going to be it for us tonight, guys. I want to make sure you guys know to stick around tomorrow. Tomorrow we do have, of course, a bunch of good games for you. If we look at the schedule here, what we have for the schedule, and this is, of course, subject to change, but starting at 1 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time, which is 10 a.m. Pacific Time, we've got Dignitas versus EG, Dignitas versus Liquid after, Liquid versus EG after that, and then Liquid versus Smeagol, Smeagol versus EG, and Typical Mistakes versus Liquid. So we've got the full gamut coming for you tomorrow. NY John, it's been a pleasure casting with you tonight. Where can they find you, and would you like to give any shout-outs?
Check me out at NYJohnTV on Twitter, and of course, shout out to ADL and Mott for having me on. It's been a pleasure. It's been an exciting day. This game was really close. However, Artyk just looked the better side in the end. TM back to the drawing board. They're close, but this game they weren't there.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll see if TM can rebound, as they do have a game tomorrow, like I talked about, up against Team Liquid. We'll see how they play up against that. But for us tonight here, I'd like to give a shout-out to the ADL as well. Big props for putting on such a great American tournament. If you enjoyed my casting, please feel free to give us any criticism in the twitch.tv chat. Maybe send me a Twitter message, or even just a Twitter reply, something along those lines. If you want to follow me, my name is Mont, Dota2 on Twitter and Twitch. So check me out there. I'll be doing some streaming very soon. I'm going to stay and chat with you guys for a little while and talk with you guys, and then I'll head out of here. But it's been a pleasure. Have a great night, everybody.